Okay, we're going to play a little game here. Which of these five flanges don't belong? So there are five different ones here. They all look somewhat similar, but not. They're all brass. This is the original flange. Came out of the 1982 machine that Pro that I've been working on. You can see I had to cut it to get it off. That was impossible. Here's a replacement flange I bought. Looks exactly the same. Here is a flange off a 1980 machine. It looks exactly the same. This one looks different. It's from a 1974 machine. And this this is a replacement flange. So which flange does not belong? The one that I bought is a replacement for this one. That's the one that doesn't belong. And here's the problem. This is flanges made for anything after 1982. I don't go by uh, all those numbers and stuff I've been seeing on Stefano's site and Tudor's site and Francesco's site and even on my site. Um, I'm not too sure about. I know they did a switch. They went from this flange, they went to then they went to this flange, and then they went to a plastic flange, and then they returned back to this flange. Um, what you need is a gauge. This gauge basically goes. You can tell threads by looking, by putting these on the threads. I have out here a 125 and a 1.5. This is a metric, a 1.25. You can't see it. I don't know if you can see it. It fits in perfect. If I try this 125 and this 1.5, it does not fit. This would only really screw down halfway, and it would screw halfway from either side. So that was cool. So I was trying to figure out why, but it's mostly because this is a 1.5. This is, like I said, a flange off an older machine. It's the same as this one. Wish I'd used it. The 1.5, 2.5 fits in perfect. If I go back and use a 1.5 on this one, it fits perfect too. So this one, this from 1974. What's it? It's a 1.25. So the replacement, basically, Tudor makes a replacement that looks exactly like this, but it's a 1.25. Stefano makes one that looks like this, which is really mimics the 1974 one that we're looking at here, but it has a 1.25. He makes it so that these little notches here are easy to use this tool, the one I've got sitting out here, and then the screws are basically, it's the same depth as this old flange, so that the screws work perfectly in here. The only thing this one doesn't have that I wish it had, I wish it had these two screws here for grounding screws. I could pop a couple more screws in here, a couple holes in here, and for grounding screws. I may end up doing that just because I don't like to put the ground ring connectors on top of the screws that fasten the hold the boiler element on. And the reason why is because they can loosen, and if they loosen, then your ground looses, and then you have electrical problem. And if you have a short, you could have a bad situation. By electrical code, for United States electrical code, all grounding screws have to be put separate from any mechanical means of fastening. These are mechanical means of fastening as far as I'm concerned, and so I'm probably going to drill some screws in, some holes in here. I actually did that on this flange. I drilled these two out so I could put in screws that I got um, online, some brass screws. But I won't be using this one for a while unless I run into another problem, but I do have a spare now. So that's where I am. So this is a replacement for this if you're in the United States. If you're in Europe, you can probably get the same one from, I think they're coming out of China for Tudor. Sometimes they have some made in Romania. But you can get exact replacement. I opted for this because I'm in the United States, and I thought I'd get here faster, and the shipping was incredible, for a small part like this. So choose wisely. Buy this thread gauge. That's my recommendation. Figure out what threads you have, because even in the years there 82, 84 in here, some of these they would transition to this coarser gauge, the 1 point, or coarser threads, the 1.5s. So you can't ever tell by the years. You really need a gauge. This gauge is less than $10, so it's well worth it. So there's my advice for everybody.